Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pacers Daily. I'm your host, Hery Acosta. As always, let's get right into it. We're going to start talking about the Sacramento Kings. Now, I know it's kind of a weird topic to talk about here on the Pacers channel, but I was kind of just reading some articles earlier today online, and I just came across a Sacramento Kings article that talked about how the Kings wish they had a problem that the Pacers and the Spurs currently have. Now, that problem is obviously talking about the contracts with Halliburton and the injury, and then obviously De'Aaron Fox just signed a max deal with the Spurs. Now, picture it 2021. The Kings had De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton on the same roster, two of the most elite point guards in the NBA. And now, fast forward to 2025, they were desperately looking for a point guard. Well, you had two all-star point guards. One that's won Clutch Player of the Year. One that, in my opinion, should have won Clutch Player of the Year last year, but obviously, they gave it to Brunson. But then, perhaps the most clutch performer in the playoffs this year. Some guy who reached the finals and was one torn Achilles away from winning an NBA Finals. But yeah, no, it was very interesting to read that. Now, in my opinion, not the Spurs, but the Pacers and Kings trade at the time was very balanced. Um, we got Halliburton, they got Sabonis. Sabonis has been great for them. Don't get me wrong, but besides the one season that they were third in the West, but lost in the first round in that 7-game series, they haven't really progressed. They've kind of just stayed in the middle. Now, ever since the Pacers got Halliburton, yeah, we had some rough spots, but we built a team around him. We built some good chemistry around him, and the Pacers have just been incredible since. Now, obviously, we've stayed in like the middle, like not the middle, but like playoff middle, if you know what I'm talking about, like fourth and sixth seed. But we've made it to the conference finals and the finals. So what matters is getting far in the playoffs. That's what matters. Whether you're the eighth seed or the first seed, you have to get far. So when it comes to the Pacers won that trade at the end of the day, just because we kept Buddy Hield a little longer than the Kings kept Jeremy Lamb, and obviously we had Tristan Thompson in that deal. We had him for 4 games, and he went to Chicago. But just overall impact, yeah, obviously the Pacers won that trade. And if we're going to talk about the Spurs trade, that one was kind of lopsided. I don't think Levine is who the Kings really need. Kings have no defense because between DeRozan, Levine, and Sabonis, there is not really much defense going around there. So I don't know what's going on in Sacramento. I don't know what they're cooking. They're going to have to roll with Dennis, the journeyman Schroeder, for a while. So that's on them. Now, going over to a player that I've talked about a bunch on this channel, just because I kind of want to elaborate a little bit, I think this trade is a win-win no matter what. Just because we didn't really give up much, and obviously he was brought in to replace Turner. Just because Huff is kind of the same play style, he's a stretch 5, and just a center that focuses more on kind of just getting to the perimeter. And I think he's perfect for the bench. Now, if he starts, that's great. But I think we should still stick with Isaiah Jackson as a starter, just at least for the beginning. But with Huff, you're getting a very interesting player, just because he is very entertaining to watch. And I know I mentioned this last episode, and I've talked about him multiple times. He is a very fun player to watch. The reverse dunks, the great three-point shooting, very good blocker. So it's just if he's not good for the Pacers, oh well, we didn't really give up much to get him. But if he's great for the Pacers, then that is an absolute steal. This is a very low risk, high reward deal that we made. And I'm excited to see where it goes. So I kind of just wanted to mention that. I'm still a firm believer that the Pacers are going to be in the playoffs. Don't worry about what Bleacher Report, what Indy Star, just what anybody is saying. Whether we're in the power rankings are just all over the place. But I think the Pacers are going to be playoff teams. I don't even think we're going to be play-in. I think we're going to be just flat-out playoffs. Just because I've seen how they've played without Halliburton. Now, it was different in Game 7 just because they watched him get hurt. And that's not easy to just watch your star player get hurt in Game 7 of the finals. Season-ending injury. Like, he's going to miss all this year. So that's not the easiest thing to see. So, but they're going into this season now. They know he's hurt. So they're not going to have to deal with the pain of watching him get hurt during the season. So they're just going to go in, play their game, and this team is still very deep. This team has one of the best chemistry I have ever seen. The only team that competes with our chemistry is the Thunder. And that's why these two teams are in the finals. You don't get better chemistry than these two teams. Two teams that aren't really like old. They're not. The Thunder were the youngest team in the league. The Pacers are not that much older. Now, the only players that are really somewhat older, Siakam's only 30, 31. McConnell's 33. And James Johnson doesn't even play, and he's 37. So you don't really have to worry about that. But just overall, I still think the Pacers are a playoff team. It all obviously depends on how everyone does, how everyone steps up to the plate just after everything that happened. So that's something to look at. And then, last but not least, kind of just piggybacking off of that, we got to start out strong. Last year, we started 10-15, and I remember when we were always like 25 games in. And I just remember thinking, what is going on? Because obviously during that time, Neesmith was hurt. Nembhard was hurt. Shepherd was hurt. Our defense was out. And we were playing with so many random lineups. Like, Toppin would start here. Jarris was thrown in here. Thomas Bryant was thrown in here. And obviously with Wiseman and Jackson all out, our center rotation was kind of wild too at first. So this is going to be a lot different. We set our rotations early. We see what happens in our first game. Just kind of play everyone, just kind of see what we can do. But obviously the preseason is going to tell a lot. Now, we know that the preseason, our starters aren't going to play more than 20 minutes. Just see what our bench has. Because as of right now, we know our first four. Because Mathurin will start. Nembhard, Mathurin, Neesmith, Siakam. Whether we start Jackson or Huff, or maybe even Wiseman, that's up to Carlisle and the management. Like, we know my opinion. I think Jackson should start at first. But, just seeing how that team plays, how that team organizes, how they stretch the ball, this team is special. I mean, I have never been more proud to be an Indiana Pacers fan than I was last season. And I was the most proud fan when we made it to the conference finals against Boston. Then and there, Hallie was also hurt. But that Boston team was out of its mind that year that they won the finals. And, I mean, we lost 3 games by a combined 8 points. Some of those games we just didn't finish. And Halliburton wasn't playing some of those games. Nembhard stepped up massively in that conference finals run. But then we know what happened this year. We made it to the finals. I mean, first time in 25 years we made it to the NBA Finals. Very entertaining, very fun as a Pacers fan to watch that. But, I'm also glad I get to talk about all these subjects. I mean, it's just kind of fun just talking and just seeing what this team can do and how they can go out there and just prove everyone wrong. Prove everyone that this team can still make a finals run. Because why not? We did it last year. Let's do it again. So, but as always, I am your host, Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby, go Surge.